Well, hi, Cynthia.
Hi, Maria.
I'm glad you don't call me Marie. I love the name Marie. Don't get me wrong, not trying to offend anyone, but like my sister always called me Marie. And I don't know, I've never been like, if somebody said somebody's name was Kathy and you got it wrong, I'd be like, what's the big deal? But for some reason, when somebody gets called me Marie, I'm like, no, it's Maria.
I like it.
I'm
Maria.
snobby that way. It's like, I'm snobby that way. Sorry.
Every time I, every time I think of your name, I think of that movie of Grumpy Old Men
I
or
never saw it.
Grumpier Old Men, Grumpier Old Men with uh, oh doggone it, I can't. Their names just escape me right now. But one of the actresses was Sophia Loren,
Oh, nice.
and I can't remember his name. Doggone it. Oh, I can't. It's on the tip of my tongue. But he sings to Maria.
Oh, that song. Yeah,
So yeah, I can't
that's
remember all the words,
funny.
but yeah, I remember that. So yeah, yeah, I like it. It's all good.
Yeah.
So we're
Is
back.
your audio very loud? Like you
Uh,
hear it loud?
I might have turned it down.
Yeah, I think it's really low.
Okay, let me get it turned up.
Yeah. Turn it up, girl.
Volume up.
Don't be shy.
Okay, here we go. How's that? La 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 la.
Oh,
Better?
that's, I know that's, oh, is that from Oklahoma?
You know, who was I just talking to? That client I was talking with last night when I missed last night. He's got a business in Oklahoma. And I kept, all of a sudden, I wanted to sing that song, Oklahoma.
I tried out for the play at Oklahoma in camp. My sister got in, and everybody else got in, and I didn't. And then they were like, "You could be like," I don't know, they put me as like a background person. I was like devastated. I can't sing.
Yeah, that's sad.
It was
They should have
sad.
put you in anyway.
I know. It was
You
kind of
know?
cool.
Yeah.
Seemed cool. It's all good. I got through the bullying.
Yeah.
I'm all cured. I'm cured, Cynthia.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, what's up, girl? Talk to me.
So we are um,
You're still
back.
real low, though. Just letting you know. Just putting it out there.
I wonder if I put my headphones on.
Yeah. You just sound
Oh,
like you're about a block away from me.
okay. Um, I've got it turned up to 80 on my. So I
Turn
don't
it
want
up.
to blow. I don't want to blow your eardrums out. Let's see where to get my
Blow them
headphones.
away, girl.
Okay. Plug. Oh, wrong way. Turn it around. There we go. Plugs in. All right. Now, oh wait, I gotta fix. Yeah. Okay, let me microphone device MPAL. Yes, audio setting. Go to audio setting. I'm on it. I'm
We're
on.
learning.
Let's see now. Audio test audio.
Got
Okay,
it?
audio. Yes, right there, and a microphone. Yes. Can you hear me?
I do. I do. It's
Hello, hello,
just
hello.
lower than usual. I don't know why. And I put my
Hello.
volume up
See.
all the way up, and I'm not
Oh, I wonder
quite
if I got to
sure.
apply or close that.
I
Maybe I got to
wonder, hold
that.
on one second. You're not going to see me for a
See,
second.
now I can't hear you.
Yeah, hold on. Hold on. Oh, hold on.
Hello.
Yep,
Oh,
I'm
wait,
here.
I hear you. I hear you.
Oh, good. Hold on. I'm trying to see if I can get my audio more up. More up. Listen to my English. More up.
Speakers
Like a
muted. I
child.
don't.
Okay, hold
Because-
on. Let me see if it's me. If I
Oh,
can
there we
do
go.
something. Do something.
There we go. Can you hear me now? How's that? Is that
It's
better?
like slightly louder, but it's really
La
low.
la 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 la
La la la la. See,
la
I hear you.
la
Woo.
la la
Taking
la.
a video now. I thought maybe, you know, when you slide your phone down, I'm gonna go
Yeah.
back to you. You know, when
Okay.
you slide your phone down, and there you are. And you are able to slide up like a little oval kind of thing, like slide up the light so that the volume goes up or
Right.
you know. I was trying to get to that, but I can't. So we're gonna go on this. I'm sure it's fine. I'm sure like it'll come out fine. I just,
Yeah, should.
it's me,
Should.
just
Yeah.
me.
I don't
So let's
hear the
talk,
jet
girl.
engine,
What's up?
so this is good. So, yes, we're back and with a new twist. So we're going to do a thing, and we're going to do like an audio book, but by chapters.
Yeah.
And we'll do it 1 or 2 chapters at a time, so we're not overwhelming anybody with our most exciting lives. And we look forward to everyone's responses. If you have questions, if you have concerns, if you're worried, if you're lost, if you're sad, if you feel trapped, message us. Both of us will be, watching, looking at our comments. Both of us will be notified. Maria and I will both be notified when we get a new message. So one of us or both of us will always be available. So just know that if you're someone who is suffering in their life emotionally, physically, let us know. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
absolutely.
if you want to, I'm gonna give you the floor on this one. Do you want to elaborate on like where we're going with it, what the topics are?
Why,
Like,
yes.
at what we're like the theme of what we're going to be collaborating on?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. See, I have my handy little notey notes. Okay.
I have no air condition in this house, by the way. We just got all our permits. So, which we did, the town like seriously came in and gave it to us and said, we need permits for this and this is this, got them all. So once in a while you might just, I'm not gonna put that on, that's too loud because I have like a fan, but you might see me take a little thing and just like fan myself. So I'm not trying to be like funny or anything.
Gotcha.
Literally take my book, because I'm such an academic, and just fan myself once in a while. So go ahead.
Excellent. So what we are going to start doing, we've been talking about this for a few days now, because, well, I'll just spit it out. That's that's the thing we do. Maria and I are so good at this. We'll start talking about a thing, a person, place, or thing, and then all of a sudden we're going off into a whole different direction. So we're going to try and attempt, because this is just as much for us as it is for all of you out there who are listening. And we're attempting to teach ourselves how to focus now. So we're doing this not just on your behalf as listeners, but on our behalf as well, because you help us keep moving forward. So we're doing this audio book. Okay, so 1 chapter at a time. The name of the book is The Art of Survival. And then there's a couple of different subtitles that we've thought about. Something that is like Out of the Darkness, because and this is about women, so women, right? As we are women, born women, okay? No, nothing else other beyond that intended. Take it as you will. Whatever floats your boat, man, I'm on with you. But this is about women, okay? If you want to hear a show about transgender women, transgender men, whatever, again, whatever floats your boat.
We
This,
respect everyone.
yes, thank you. So this story, this audiobook particularly, is about real women.
Women.
Born women, yes. Okay. So one subtitle would be two women coming together out of the darkness of abuse, and so you will see the eventually, if not on this video, the cover that we're working on, animated cover, so that when you go into this podcast as a listener, as a visual listener, you will experience a cover, a book cover, an animated book cover. So we'll work on that, and we'll hopefully have it on this video. Okay. So that is the direction we're going for this particular audio book. And we're kind of started off by talking about, having a conversation. I've been in therapy off and on since I was 14. I'm 64 now. So what, 30 years. And so a lot of people, they don't want to. I spent a lot of years being proud, always working, never in the system, knowing I could go forward. And, but it was never working. And, childhood, if a kid, like, when there's stuff going on in the family and your parents are monsters, like I wrote in my book, Stuff Happens, Memoirs of a Lost Child. You can see that in my book by Cynthia Darling and Amazon. And but I talk about the monsters I see in the doorway. I'm like outside sitting in the grass. I'm 6 years old, and I don't even go inside. You know how some kids, they'll put their legs out like this when they're sitting out to the side, right? That's how I sat in the grass. And if I had to go potty, if I looked and I saw the monsters, they look like lizards, really big lizards. And I just sit there and wet my britches, because to go in the house where the monsters were more scary than peeing in the grass, because I could always change my panties, but then, it's a trade-off. Exactly. What do I do? Do I not wear panties outside today in case I got to pee in the grass because the monsters are in the door?
But, and when you're talking, somebody might like giggle like, oh my God, she wet her bridges, or she went outside, she peed in the grass, and like, but you have to understand the trauma or the anxiety that you were a 6-year-old. And I mean, I will never tell your story. That's for you to tell. But you were traumatized by whatever was happening, your experience at that time. And to have that fear and to build those, to see those visions, like, oh, the monsters, like you're little. And that experience of trauma, childhood trauma, and as an adult, when you're traumatized, it's hard to kind of put things into perspective and to think clearly and to be able to do the right thing to keep yourself safe. It's hard as an adult. Many adults don't call the police when they're being violently abused. Many adults don't cover up, try to make excuses or make their perpetrator like them again so that they don't
Right.
get abused or want to be there. And for a little kid, like what Cynthia is saying, it must be very difficult. I couldn't even imagine you having to
Yeah.
make that choice.
Yeah. So that leads us to a possible title for the first chapter, Our Monsters.
Yeah. And we all have them.
You like that? Our
Yeah.
Monsters? Okay. So, Maria, our book is about women. So when you're talking, it's not about
Absolutely. And
people,
it's
it's
true.
about women.
No, can I just say something? You
Yeah.
know, we say that our book is about women, and somebody transgender might say, well, I'm a woman now. But what we're saying is, and we respect everybody, if you're a woman, if you're gay, yes, you are a woman now. However, we're talking about the
Okay.
biological, the
Correct.
the women and men, when just chemi-
Okay.
chemically are just
So,
we're different.
yeah.
We think
So,
differently. We
yeah.
problem solve differently. Our conversations are different. It just is. Our brains work differently than a man's brain. Um, and this isn't that one is stronger than the other. You know, stop being, well, I'm not going to tell anybody what to do, but for me, I feel that you don't have to demasculate or emasculate. I'm sorry, I added a
I've,
D for some reason. Um, a man. You don't have to put down men. You don't have to hate men to be a
right.
strong woman.
Right.
And
Right.
you know, we're different, but we're both strong, just in
Mm-hmm.
different ways.
Right.
I don't
Right.
need to put down a man to feel like a strong woman. I
Right.
am a strong woman. I'd like a strong man.
Yeah.
It's very different. And so, you know, we're not putting anybody down, but our book is about women who are born women because
Truly.
we're talking about chemically and just like our thought process and how we handle things, how we handle stress, how we handle abuse. And so we are very focused on that. And we don't mean to offend anyone. If we have, we're very, very sorry. But this is the direction we're going in, and we've
Okay.
both discussed it
So,
um,
yeah. Yeah. And I,
intensely, and we've tried to be as sensitive as we can
okay.
with saying it, you know, we need to be able to speak our truth, and
Okay.
this is our truth.
Yeah. And okay. Okay. Yeah. I just don't want to, I don't want us to feel like we have to explain ourselves.
Okay,
We've got, because here's what it does to us. It takes away from our empowerment for ourselves as
yeah,
women, as born women. And there was a thing I saw on TV. This is part of what women who were abused in their past or currently being abused. Uh, there is a very distinct difference. Personally, I see uh, men and women as two completely different species
yeah,
because we are.
we are.
And history, throughout history, since the time of Cro-Magnon man or caveman or whatever the hell you want to call them, since that time, it has always been the understanding, the understated truth, or the understated fact, however you want to say it now in our time, that men brought home the bacon, so to speak. There's that old saying, men bring home the bacon, the woman stays home, cooks, cleans, and have babies. That was the theme of women. That's how women were looked upon for thousands of years. So now, in this time, people are changing. That's not who we are anymore. It's not who we ever were as women. Women have always been strong. We have always been the backbone of the family. Always. you know. And so, but this is a behavior that has become a habit, a way of thinking over thousands of years. And it hasn't changed a lot. There are still men who believe women to be weaker species than them.
Absolutely.
And because of that, they believe that they have a right to treat us as such, whether we're little girls or grown women. And it's that stigma that has to change. That's the thing that has to change, or the monsters will never change. Our monsters will continue to be monsters and will continue to grow worse and worse and worse.
And you know, Cynthia brings up a point, which is, and I think that it's good to call ourselves out when we do things on a pattern. So obviously you understand the theme of what we're saying. We're talking about women who have been in some kind of abusive relationship or had abuse in their lifetime, whether it's from their parents, whether it's from outsiders, strangers, husbands, you know, whoever it was from. It's just that that's what we're talking about. But what I tend to do, and I'm sure if you go back to other videos, you might see it, is I tend to over explain myself and defend myself sometimes, because when you are, and that is one of the traits that happens to some people, not all people who have been abused, but some people. And I think the majority.
In general, generally speaking.
Yeah, where I have conversations and every other word was I'm sorry. And and it's just probably the last, I'd say, 5 years that I've stopped saying I'm sorry. I would say I'm sorry if whatever was happening to it was just like my vocabulary. Every other word was, oh, I'm sorry. Oh, I'm sorry. People would say, what are you sorry for? And I really wouldn't know. But I would apologize for everything. And so, you know, I have had some growth and that has stopped, but that's kind of like why we feel it's so important to do these podcasts and to let people know our experiences. Maybe our experiences can have helped somebody else. You know, both of us are very strong women. We're both, you know, pretty educated. We educate ourselves and we're educated. But we're kind of learning every day, me and Cynthia. We kind of like look into different topics of just like humanity every single time we speak, and we speak a lot. And I think that through this, she called me out on my over explaining, and I'm so afraid of offending somebody. I'm so afraid of what's somebody gonna think, that kind of thinking for me. And we will talk more about our abuse in our own way. Cynthia will speak about it as much as she wants to on her, and I'll speak about mine as much as I want to. It's not about name calling out. It's not about talking publicly about our abusers, because we're not giving them that power. It's more about our healing through our abuse and the type of abuse that we went through. So, you know, and that's what's important, to be able to admit to yourself, oh my God, I went through this, I survived. Because you have to remember, Cynthia and I are extremely strong because we did survive certain things that other people did not survive. And so through what we're talking about and through these podcasts, this is the initial one, so there's some, we're actually going to learn along with maybe somebody else who hears us.
Right. That's what I was just going to say. If you're listening to this and you're going through this or some form of abuse, if you or you have been there and want to share your story, send us a video. If you want us to talk about, um, without naming who you are, we certainly would not use anyone's name without their permission.
Absolutely not.
And because it's not cool to do that. And but let us know and we'll do what we can. Because of the work that I do, I know people all over the country, all over the world. And so, you know, don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to
Yeah.
speak out. We don't have to use your name.
And there's no on this forum, in this forum, on our channel, there's really no judgment.
Mm-mm.
God, we're not. I had a busy day today and an emotional day, and sometimes, sorry, but I forget my words. I'm having like a lapse. But there's no judgment. There's no nobody's gonna name call you out or try to embarrass you, or everybody's feelings are valid, you know, and it's
Mm-hmm.
okay if you've been on both sides and you come out better. Like if you have been abused and then you found, because sometimes abuse can be passed on. Sometimes you can be abused, and if that's all you know, if that's
Right.
what you've been brought up with. I have
Right.
not. That's not my story. I've had it later on in life. But if it is your story that that's what you know, even people who have been abused when they're adults,
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
and it can trigger them to have the perpetrators mannerisms or their their actions. It could
Yeah.
trigger you to do the same, and that's
Yeah.
what it's like a chain. It's like a chain of God, it's like a chain of events that happens. Like you get
It's a
abused and you
cycle.
pass on the abuse maybe to these
Mhm.
are just examples, your kids or then their
Yep.
families, so it goes on and on and on and on. And what we want to do is we want to break that chain.
Yep.
We
Yep.
want to say, but it has to happen again. At some point, by the grace of God, maybe you could get stronger. I know I did. I know Cynthia did. We both had different reasons for getting that strength, or we
Mm-hmm.
maybe had different events in our lives that led us to that. But you can overcome your abuse. You
Mm-hmm.
can
Mm-hmm.
get to a place where you're not angry anymore. You can
Right.
get to a place where you're progressing in life and things are
Mm-hmm.
moving forward, and you can work again and you can think again and you can have a
Mm-hmm.
life again.
Right.
Um, and that doesn't happen overnight. And we're not trying to minimize anybody's pain. If somebody's right now going through pain, um, believe me, if you just need somebody to talk to and you want to put it in the comments, or you don't want to put it in the comments, and you want to, Cynthia, email, or how would we do that? If you want
Uh,
like a private conversation, if
um,
they want to just write in
we could,
about what's going on with them.
um, I'd be all right putting my email address down.
Okay.
I have a different email address. Well, no, I don't have that email set up. That's my gaming email. But yeah, I'll put my email up there. I don't mind that.
Okay. And by the way, Cynthia is a life coach, just for those who don't know that. So feel free to reach out to her. She's an excellent life coach. Plus the fact that she is somebody that not only is certified, but to coach you through your issues or your problems or what's going on in your life. But she's also somebody who understands, and it's not one-sided. It's not her life was great and then she got this certification and now she's going to tell you how to feel. Cynthia and I both know what it is to feel betrayed and abused and
Mhm.
violated,
Mhm. Mhm.
you know, and those violations and those betrayals come in different forms and different
Mhm.
colors, and there's not a one, size fits
All
all.
our monsters look different,
They do,
but
they
they
do, and
they
like
they
I
are the
said,
monsters in our
years for
lives.
years, I was apologizing to everybody I knew.
Mhm. Yeah.
And it took me the last 5 years, which are really the years that I have become a much stronger person than I was,
Mhm.
in the last maybe 3 or 4 years, but it took me that long to stop saying I'm sorry to people and apologizing for things that had nothing to do with me, or that
Mhm.
it was out of nowhere, like it didn't fit the situation.
Yeah.
And that was inside me. Those were
Mhm.
my own demons. I felt I it was like I was sorry I existed.
Yeah.
I knew I was a good mother, always been a great mom,
Yeah.
and I knew that I was a good friend. I really tried to be a good friend to those I loved. I
Mhm.
was just saying I was a good friend doesn't mean I've been always perfect as a friend, but it means that your intention is to be good. You wake up with intention.
Yeah.
Your intention is, your intention is to be good. But what happens with people who are abused, even if they have the intention to go to work, pay their bills, and have family time and be a good friend, there are scars that sometimes you can see and sometimes scars
Mhm.
that you can't see.
Mhm.
And
Mhm.
sometimes it's not recognized that when you can't see somebody's scars, you're not recognized as
Right.
much as if your scars are visible.
Mhm.
And
Right.
so sometimes those scars turn up in our conversations.
Mhm.
They
Mhm.
might turn up in our ability to function during the ability to wake up on time for work, or
Right.
get out the door, or go for a jog, or love nature, or smile at somebody.
Yeah.
Or sometimes those scars can turn into anger and
Mhm. Mhm.
resentment. And if
Yep.
that happens, then what happens is that when you hold everything inside, it's like a soda bottle that you shake.
Mhm. Mhm.
What happens when you take the lid off? It just explodes. And that's the same thing with your pain and your scars that
Yeah.
people can't see. you
Right.
you know you can explode at the silliest things, at things that aren't anything that would make anybody
Mhm.
angry,
Right.
but it's just a reaction. It's an overreaction. And
Right.
so, we're here to say, yeah, we get that, but we're also
Mhm.
here to say you can move forward, and they're not that those memories ever go away. Not a therapist or anybody can make things go away for you, or a band-aid, but they can give you tools to overcome, to be able to put your life into perspective, and to zone in on your strengths. And you'll see, as you zone in on the things that you're like really excited about, like me and Cynthia like to have conversations and do our podcasts and do our show, and we're excited if we can help one person. And if we can help 10 or 20, that's even better. But
Mhm.
you'll see that the other voices, the other spiraling, will go towards the back of your head. It'll only be non-existent. It will be there, but it won't be an everyday hearing the
Right.
same
As
things in your
yeah,
head.
as you go through your own healing process, and so the intention of the book the audiobook itself is to help others begin their journey, their healing journey, because it does take time, you know, it to have to deal with what many people are dealing with in today's world in trying to heal or get rid of or get out from abusive family members or abusive spouses. It is a really difficult time to attempt doing that. You know, it's like you worry about how am I going to do that? See, I never worried about that. I was always in survivor mode as a child. When you are, and I liked when you brought up about talking about, you know, it's what we do. You get used to being treated a certain way, and so looking for that, you know, some men who abuse women and children, they look for women who are vulnerable. And I always said, we carry a neon sign above us that says, pick me. There's a way that humans carry themselves when they're vulnerable, when they're strong. We don't see it, but other people see it, okay? And vultures really pick it up. They got that eagle eye, you know? And so, but this thing of behavior, we look for that subconsciously. We don't like it. There's no part of it that it's something that I enjoyed. No, it's about that familiarity. I'm familiar with this. I know how to survive this behavior because I know if it gets to this point that I'm afraid of, then I'll run away. And that's what I did. I spent years leaving stuff behind, just bringing my clothes and my camera. And let's see, I always had a cat. So I'd bring my cat, clothes, camera, cat. And I was out. Get me the hell out of here. Which way is out? I'm out of here. You know, so I always took off. I didn't, you know, wasn't, I actually stuck around for verbal abuse more than I did the physical abuse because to me, I could handle the verbal abuse because that's what I was given so much when I was a child. The beatings when I was a kid were extreme, and so I would not stick around for that, you know. And so those are the monsters, my monsters and your monsters. They're all monsters. People who abuse other people, children, adults, elderly. People who abuse other people are monsters. My monsters look like lizards standing in the doorway. At one point in time, my dad was a pterodactyl in a dream. You know, I'm like, ah.
But you were very young. Your
Yeah,
abuse
but
started very young.
yeah, but and that's what makes this audiobook great because of our different backgrounds, because of how different our survival was, but in the end of all things, we survived. You know, to help someone to survive is to say, hey, you know, I get it. I've been there. Here's what it was like for me. So I do understand that. And I didn't live what you went through, but I understand that life.
And you know what the other thing that I noticed is, like, when I had a day that was very emotional, I'm not going to really talk too much about it, but at the end of the day, I felt vindicated. I felt like finally, you know, like people are listening to me for
Mhm.
my reasons. on other shows, you know, I've had protective orders and restraining orders, and
Yep.
I have one in place right now. And I usually I was with an attorney, and you know, things, I felt good about where the direction went, you know, for me. And I walked
Mhm.
out, and I remember her looking at me, and most people would be like, yeah, I did it. It's not, I was sad. I was sad and I was happy, but I was sad. I was happy that I
Mhm.
felt protected, but I was sad it came to this point in my life that this had to happen.
Mhm.
And a lot of emotions, but when I got out of that courtroom, when I was able to get down the elevator and outside, I felt the clarity that I never felt before. Felt the relief that I haven't felt in years. Even though I've been going through this process for about 4 years, 4.5
Mhm.
years, I've had the restraining orders and protective orders, but there was
Mhm.
always something, and Cynthia probably knows this because we speak weekly, daily, sometimes a couple of times a day, um, where I'd be sad still, or I'd feel
Mhm.
anger, or I'd feel, and
Yeah.
this time was different because I don't have that. I'm 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 exhausted, I think, if anything. I
Mm.
I'm 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 happy for myself. Um, but I'm sad that I have children who have to see me have to go and protect myself. Um, and it's not like a birthday party. It's not like a present you get.
Mhm.
This is all
Mhm.
survival. So it's okay if you don't walk out and you're going like, yeah, yeah, because it's not about that.
Yeah.
It's not a joke.
Right.
It's not, you know, it's more like, you know, uh, I believe certain things happen in your life, and whatever your belief is, fine. But I believe, just personally, that certain things that happened in my life, God wanted me to find. You know, I said that to my
Mhm.
mom, and she says, "How can you say that?" I'm like, I feel that God wanted me to go through these things
Mhm.
so that I
Yep.
can appreciate the things, other things. And I have to look at it that way, and I
Mhm.
do believe it. But I think that, you know, the difference now is, I think before I would allow my mind to go into a negative place. And today, and I do think that it came from God. I feel like I'm looking at the positive that came out of it, that
Mhm.
I'm, you know, but it's not, it's like, I'm just clarity. Clarity was one of the gifts I got from it. Like,
Right.
wow, you know, like I'm finally like understanding that I do have a voice, that, you know, a lot of perpetrators or abusers, they'll be like, who's going to believe you? Oh, the
Yeah.
cop. You're
Yeah.
crazy.
See, and that.
That's the word. You're
Yeah.
crazy. You're psycho. Who's going to believe you?
Yeah.
What cop's going to believe you?
Right.
What judge is going to believe you? What? But you know what? You know what? When you're telling the truth, I believe it, people know.
Yeah. But you touched on
You
a
know,
thing. You touched on it. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to cut you
no,
off there,
go
Maria,
ahead.
but you touched on a thing. You when you talk about who's going to believe me, that's what I really like about how we go into conversations and
It's
uh,
raw.
one of
I
us
was
says
saying it
something
earlier.
and
That was
yeah,
Cynthia's word. We're raw. We're
yeah,
like, it's a real
yeah,
conversation. It's not
yeah. It's not
scripted.
about
We don't have notes.
we're not in our pity pot, right?
Right.
We're just talking about reality. This is how we made it. And if we can help you see that, great. If we can't, then we pray for you. But when you talked about who's going to believe you, uh, who's going to believe a grown woman, who's going to believe a child, right? So
Well, the other
Or-
thing,
Go ahead.
you're a big girl, they'll say, like, I'm, I'm 5'9", I'm not small framed, I'm not huge, I'm kind of like medium. And a lot of times, women who are abused, who are not the frail little like size zeros, which is not, I'm not putting you down. Hey, more power to you. If you could be a size zero, I wish I was. So more power to you. But a lot of times people will be like, well, yeah, you're a big girl. Why didn't you do this? Why didn't you call the police? Well,
Yeah.
look, statistically, I mean, we're not going to get into that now. I don't have the proper statistics off the top of my head. Well, Google it,
Yeah.
because
But
the
it,
majority of women don't call the cops.
yeah. Yeah. And that takes us back to how women have been seen through the eyes of men. In general, generally speaking, of men. We're dealing with 1,000 years of a way of being treated, right? And so if we look at the history of that, we can see the true nature of our monsters. That it's not the monster that's going to change. We have to change.
Right.
And we have to help ourselves, not as so much escape the monster, but grow forward from the monster. That we empower ourselves as women, that we empower ourselves as young adults, that we take those hard steps forward to enter that journey of survival, to not, and that's the other thing you talked about. You touched on the chain of things, how it continues like a cycle. It continues. I'm never going to be like my parents. Oh my God, I hate my parents. Oh my God, I'm never going to do that. I'm never going to beat my kid with an extension cord or go pull a switch off a tree and just beat them with that till they're bloody. I'm never going to do that. And you know who I admire? I admire parents who are good parents. You're a good mom. And I have always admired you for that. I have great respect for women who are good parents and families who are good to their children, who show them their love, who give them hugs, who tell them they love them. I didn't have that, so I admire that and I love seeing that. It really touches my heart to see that. I'm okay that I don't have that now. But it took me years to battle my monsters to be where I'm at today. But no different than you. You had to battle your monsters to be where you're at today, to walk out of that courthouse, to be like, oh, wow, I can breathe. Man, what's different? What's different is you're not
It
beating
was a
yourself
different
up
clarity
anymore.
today than I've had.
Yeah.
And I can't tell you why. And that's what's so amazing about healing.
Mm-hmm.
Healing can surprise you too, because as
Yeah.
you're healing or as you're growing stronger as a person, and
Mm-hmm.
growing stronger as a person, again, doesn't mean that, you've got all the answers, or you're always going to make the
Right.
right decisions, or, you might slide backwards a little sometimes,
Yeah.
but it's about waking up every day with intention, and intention is so important. Um,
Mm-hmm.
you know, Even if you have to write down your intention every morning when you wake up, but setting an intention for the day, you know, nobody's perfect, nobody's an angel. We all, I might get in trouble with this because I do believe in God and Jesus, but a lot of people say, well, you're Christian, you have to believe in the devil. And I have a very difficult time with the concept of the devil. So
Okay.
I've been schooled on that in some ways, but I really do believe that there's good and bad in all of us.
Mm-hmm.
And intention helps you make that choice. Am I going to go out and try to? So if you set your mind with intention for the day, just set small goals for yourself.
Yep.
I'm going to take a walk today because that's going to make me feel good. And if I feel good, then what happens is that trickles down to all the decisions I make during the day. You know, it's almost like when they say if the plane's going down, who's going to put the oxygen on? Are you putting it on your child or yourself first?
Right,
Always
right,
put it on yourself first, because if you're gone, you cannot help your baby. You can't help
right,
your child.
right.
And it's the same thing if you take care of yourself. If today I felt, you know, okay, I felt okay coming. I wouldn't say it was like elated. It was like I felt good
Yeah.
about. I felt like a good decision was made. And when I came home, I said, when we decided to do this podcast, I said, you know, I'm gonna make myself feel good. You know, you have to, nobody can make you feel good. A man can tell you you're beautiful, right? There's always
Right.
going to be somebody prettier than you. There's always going to be somebody smarter than you. And there's always going to be somebody more exciting than you. Always. That's a given in life, right? But we're unique and learning to, I've learned to love myself through this process of healing. I was like, if anybody who knows me knows I don't wear big earrings normally, right? Most of the
But they
time,
look good.
98% of the time, I don't wear any earrings. Most people notice I don't wear jewelry on my hands. You know, I don't wear huge necklaces 98% of the time. But once in a while, that little wild Maria comes out and I put my big earrings on and I, didn't fix my hair fancy, but kind of brushed out my hair. I put some makeup on and I did it for me. And it's not doing it for somebody else. If somebody else compliments you, that's a great feeling. But
Yeah.
you really, I think for me, what has worked is learning how to like myself. And then it evolved in loving myself.
Yeah.
And when I love myself, it's not being conceited. It's not saying, oh, I think I'm the most beautiful girl, or I'm this, or I'm that. I'm better than this one than that one. I don't want to be somebody else. Cynthia doesn't want to be somebody else. You know, even with the hardships we've been through, we're learning to love ourselves. When we love ourselves, then we can give to another relationship, whether that's our friendships, whether that's our family. Cynthia and I, she zoned in on it. We have such different experiences. I had the best parents in the world. And this is what's so important to say, that abuse doesn't only happen to people who are poor, destitute. Um, you can be, I'll give you an example. I no longer live in Greenwich, but I can say this. So somebody there, an authority figure said to me, and somebody in government or working in that kind of sector, I don't want to give it away because I said the place, but somebody said to me, you know, um, one thing I really remember that they said is, because women normally, if they get abused, they tend to go back. And I think anybody in government, judges have seen it, cops have seen it, I'm sure family services have seen it, and wherever you are in any state, it doesn't matter where you are in the world,
Right.
women tend to go back to what they know. If
Right.
they know abuse, they tend to go back to it. It's unfortunate, but those are the patterns that happen.
Yeah. Yep.
And he said to me, this person, he obviously, I said it now, that ship has sailed. And I was thinking in my head, oh yeah, you know, I was crying and everything, but I was like, why is this, you know, like you get defensive when you've been abused. Why is he saying that to me? What does he think I'm stupid? But meanwhile, he's talking to somebody that for years defended the person.
Yep.
And this is another thing. The person who's being abused, whether it's physical or emotional, and sometimes they're coupled, like in my case, thinks they love the person.
Yeah. Believe
And
they can
so-
fix them.
You got to fix them.
Yeah.
They're like that because they've been hurt, and they're
Mhm.
like that because somebody did this to them, and that whatever the case is, we're always making excuses for them,
Right.
and we're always defending them.
Mm-hmm.
My person actually said to my mother that I loved that person more than I loved my mom. Oh, Maria, she loves me more than she loves you. And that person told my mother, and she would lie for me. And you know what? It was the one time he wasn't lying. That person wasn't lying when they said that. When you are lost and
Mm-hmm.
you're in a place where you're listening to those words, you're crazy. Nobody's going to believe you.
Mm-hmm.
You're, you're stupid. You're, you're not, you're ugly.
Mm-hmm.
You're believing them because you think you care about them.
Yeah.
Care about them. They must be telling me the truth, and nobody's
Yeah.
going to believe me. Maybe I am crazy. Maybe I
Mhm.
deserve the abuse.
Right.
What did I do? Let me make it better. Let me make
Mhm.
them like me. If I show them how much I love them, they
Mhm.
will stop the abuse. They will love
Yeah.
me back. No. And an example of that, if you look at videos of Shanann Watts and you look at videos of her husband, who was like the perfect husband, and there's one video, and I'm not going to go on this, you can look at anything you want on YouTube, but there's one video that really got to me. She's wearing a purple shirt. She's sitting outside on the steps, and she says, "I am so lucky. He's the best husband I've ever had." You could see she's saying it sadly, and people go, "Well, she claimed he was the best, and she claimed," and and she ended up dead at his hands. And his girl, no, I can't say his girlfriend for sure. A lot of people, there's a theory out there
Right.
that they think
Right.
she was in, but I don't know that. But
Right.
she, she's claiming him, and somebody during that I was talking to, who was in authority in government, who was talking to me about my case. I brought that up to them, and I said, you know why she sat there? Because everybody's like, she said he was so great. He did all these videos with the kids. Who the hell would have known? But sometimes when you now, hindsight is another story. I see her now that I know that this happened. If she was still alive, I would have said, great person.
Mhm.
But I think, just in my perspective, that I saw the sadness in her in this video. And what
Mhm.
happens is, women, we tend to want to convince other people of how happy we are.
Yeah.
So abused women usually are trying to convince for a very long time until they get out of it others
Mhm. Yeah.
of how great things are.
Yeah.
Like my mom had said, "Oh, but there are times you look so happy, or times that," and yeah, it's you're embarrassed. You're
Mm.
embarrassed it's happening to you. If it's happening
Yeah.
to you more than once, now you're really embarrassed.
Mhm.
Because how I made a bad choice again? No,
Yeah.
no, no. No, I can't show my friends that I did it again.
Mhm. Mhm. Yeah.
They're going to think, and that was in my head. Oh my
Mhm.
God, what are my friends going to think?
Yeah.
I chose bad again. What's my family going to think?
Mhm. Mhm.
And then you're convincing them. It's like I was saying, well, look to the person who's doing this to you. Look, I'm saying all these great things about you. You're trying to make them, in your fantasy, in your delusion, because of what you're going through. I'm not making fun of anybody, but
Yeah.
you're trying to convince, so that even the person that's doing this to you,
Right.
look, I'm talking like Shanann was. He's so great. He's so this. And I thought, well, she did all these podcasts, all these videos while she was like, it was like she was trying to convince him, look how much I love you. Don't you love me like that again? Don't
Yeah.
you, you know, you, you're constantly on this spiraling of convincing everybody of a fantasy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
That's not your reality, but which
Right.
feels better to you. It's comforting to be in that fantasy.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
comforting to convince others of how well you're doing.
Mm-hmm.
And
Mm-hmm.
then when you close the door and when you're by yourself, it's a different world.
Then it's
And
reality.
so, and it's okay to have emotion. That's the other thing. People go,
Right.
oh, wait, she has some emotion when she's talking about this. Maybe she's not okay. Maybe she's not in her right. No, it's okay. I'm just going to go off like we usually do, a little, just a little. I promise I'll bring it on back. But it does
Okay.
swirl around to what I'm saying. So I
Okay.
promise you. Because I know Cynthia keeps me in line, rightfully. She keeps me in line. But on this subject, I'm going to say I had a doctor once say to me, um, after this had happened, and I discussed what was going on with this doctor, and it was a regular doctor, not a therapist or anything, but
Mm-hmm.
they knew of what circumstances I was in, and they said, "Oh, are you depressed? Do you want to take something?" And listen, I have family members who take something for depression, and I think it works great for some people. I've never wanted to. And that's
Mm-hmm.
okay if you don't want to or you do want to. There's not a right wrong. It's an individual kind of journey that you're taking.
Mm-hmm.
We're all on a different journey. I just tended to try not to. So I said, and I'm not on anything now, and I never have been. But it's not bad if you are. I have personal family members that are, and it works for them. And I applaud you if you can find that inside you that's what's going to help you.
Mm-hmm.
But for me, I didn't want to. And he says, "Oh, you must be depressed." And I said, "Well, I've got a dad that's sick. I'm going through this. But what happened to sad?
Mm-hmm.
When was it not okay to be sad?
Yeah.
When was sad? I think that there are different levels." I was like, "Well, no, I'm sad, and that's normal to be sad because I've had these circumstances happen to me, but I'm not jumping off the bridge. I'm not ready to give up on life, and I definitely am fighting for my survival.
Mm-hmm.
And as long as I feel that I can fight for my survival and be on a good
Chewy.
path,
Yeah.
I don't feel I need that." So what I'm saying to everybody is, it's okay if you're sad. It's a normal emotion. I
Yeah.
think we've over traumatized being sad. Oh, you're sad? Let me just give you something for that.
Mm.
Everybody wants to get rid of sad.
Right.
And
Right.
I just personally feel it's okay if you're sad. That
Yeah.
doesn't make you crazy, and it doesn't make you dramatic, and it doesn't
No.
make you like not normal.
Yeah.
You
Right.
know, it's we have different emotions. Sad is an emotion.
Right.
I feel is it's better to show your emotion. The most dangerous thing is when you don't show your emotions,
Yeah.
when you hold it all in.
Right.
And if you do that, it will erupt one day. It will come out. And maybe not in a healthy way for you or for the people around you or
Mm-hmm.
for, I think it's important to be able to say, I feel sad today, and it's okay to cry in front of your friends or your family. When somebody loves you,
Mm-hmm.
you know, it's okay to communicate that it's not a
Mm-hmm.
good day. And I think both me and Cynthia have been in places where we've communicated that to each other. Today's not a good day. We're going to take a hiatus. We're going
Mm-hmm.
to take a breathing moment for ourselves and regroup inside our brains, and
Mm-hmm.
then we'll talk later, or we'll talk tomorrow, maybe next week. But it's okay to say that,
Yep.
not feel that you have to perform for anybody,
Mm-hmm.
you know? Um, I'm in love, so I will say that. And And I think that my communication with the person I'm in love with has gotten so much better on my part. I wasn't communicating well at the beginning. I was going through, when I met this person, I was going through a lot of what I'm getting stronger about. The abuse that I've taken in my life has, I think there was a time it led me not to communicate well with my friends, with my
Mhm.
family, and, especially to be in a relationship. And
Yeah.
yes, I'm in love with a man,
Mhm.
and I don't hate men. Just because there are men who abuse doesn't mean
Right.
that there aren't good men out there.
Right.
Good, strong men who want to be men and don't do those things.
Right. Right.
So we're not man haters. We're talking about a sector of men who choose
Well,
to
yeah.
abuse.
It's about women who have survived their abuser. And how
And by
we
the way, their
survive that.
abuser isn't always a man.
Right. Right.
Their abuser could be another woman.
Well, yeah, my abuser was a man and a woman.
My
So,
abuser was a man.
and it's about surviving that. How do we survive our monsters? How do we get through that? It's hard to know how to get through that as a child because you're surviving. When you're in that life, you're just surviving. You learn how to lie. You learn how to be invisible. And the hope is that I held on to God all those years because we were churchgoers. Every Sunday we went to church, and so that's how adults, grown-ups saw our family. Churchgoers, loving, wonderful family. And that's when, um, we talk about silent abusers. The silent abuser is the teacher. The silent abuser is the parent who's always looked up to, the teacher who's always looked up to. Because for a child, who's going to believe you? So we have to find ways to survive our monsters. And as adults, then,
My stomach growled. Did you hear that? I'm sorry.
no, I didn't.
Oh, I'm sharing it with you. It was like a big monster.
Roar.
Are you hungry?
So,
Huh?
so, yeah, so it's important to have those emotions, um, when we are adults, as adult women
Mm.
living with an abuser, then we are taught by them. It's like it's a form of brainwashing is what it boils down to. And so we develop a way to survive that. Maria developed a way to survive her abusers. And so um, the way that happens, we learn how to pacify our abusers. How can I make this better so that I'm not getting in trouble?
Right.
That movie with what's her name in it? Oh, what the hell is the name of that movie? Robertson, Julia Roberts.
Oh, Julia.
Yeah.
Oh, I know which one you're talking
know which
about.
one I'm
And
talking?
she's on in that beautiful mansion on the cliff
Yeah.
over the water.
Yeah.
And oh God, Sleeping
I-
with the Enemy.
Sleeping with the Enemy. Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
that was great. That was
Yeah,
great.
that was a
It was,
great.
and you know what? It was very realistic
Mhm.
of how far things can get.
Yeah, yeah. I remember doing that. My last relationship before Jim was like that. I'm escaping is what I felt. I felt like I was in a movie. He had beat me and raped me that night. So what I did was I waited for him to fall asleep. And after he fell asleep, I went and I got my things and I put them in my car and I let the car roll back out of the driveway like I'm in a movie. And then all of a sudden I remembered, my electric blanket. I can't leave my electric blanket. And he had taken it and thrown it out the back door. So I'm going around the side of the house, tiptoeing to get my electric blanket. I think my mom gave me that as a Christmas gift. And so I wasn't no way going to leave that behind. And so I'm going up to get that. And I remember I was horrified. I was just horrified. You know, that feeling of, oh my God, they're going to wake up. They're going to wake up and hear me. Oh my God. Oh my God. And so you have to, I had to keep moving. You have to keep moving. You can't stop moving. You can't stop and think about a thing. You have to keep moving in that situation. You have to find safety in that situation. You know, because that's when that happened, I can look at that now and I can see myself so full of fear that there's still that part that goes, what happens next?
Right.
What happens when I leave? You know? And so there's still that little part of us that thinks, okay, well, if he comes out, I'll just pretend.
Sure.
But I knew in my heart, mind, and soul, I had to keep moving because at that moment, I knew it wasn't going to get any better. That I had to allow myself to be so victimized to make myself realize that this is not good. This is not good. And it's not going to stop until I stop it. And if leaving, running away in the middle of the night is how I have to do that, then that's how I have to do that. And so that in those moments when we finally come to that clarity where we're like, this monster is not going to go away. I have to go away. That's a hard thing to do. That is a very hard thing to do, but it is not impossible.
It's not impossible.
Nope, we can heal. We can escape our monsters alive, you know, taking our lives. It doesn't work. God stopped me many times, and just kept telling me, not today. So just keep telling yourself, not today. Today, I can leave. If I need to get out of here, I can leave. If you have children, grab your children. Today, I can leave.
And there's a theory about how scary cops are. And I know it's hard, and I'm not saying that there haven't been circumstances where there have been few cops. And I say because I believe that the majority of cops are good. I've run into maybe 2 cops in my kind of like going through this that I thought, what an, what. But, and they're all men, by the way, have been well trained. And they say trained because they must have been. That was a basket case. The things that I heard nobody should hear. Not just of what happened to me, but what happened somewhere else. And I'm not going to get into that, but I heard some things that were very painful for me. They were very well trained, caring. Spoke to a police officer the other day and he was just talking to me, and he just happened to be one of the most sincere, caring, again, well-trained, because they have to be
Right.
well-trained to deal with certain issues.
Right.
And, you know, was very together and held it together, but he kind of got me to feel comfortable with him and to allow him to hear some of the things that were going on with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that the majority of cops, I think cops get a bad rap, a huge bad rap. I'm not saying that all of them are good, but then
Mm-hmm.
again, not all women are good, not all men are good. There's bad in everybody, and there's very few, and I think those few make it bad for the rest. The few horrible, and I'm saying horrible things that we've seen, and we can do another show on that, on the way certain cops have acted. And obviously, you have YouTube, you have your videos out, you have so many things. Technology has taken off, and
Mm-hmm.
it's easy to see the bad, and most people want to videotape the bad. Now they're starting to videotape some good stuff, and I think the majority of cops are good. I'm going to say that. Don't be afraid to go to a police station
Yep.
and let them know that you're going through something difficult.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Even if you feel it's stupid, or if you
Yeah.
feel that they're not going to believe you, go find
Yeah.
somebody, you know,
Yep.
talk to somebody, a family member that you trust, or that
Yep.
you feel good with, a friend, a neighbor. But if
Right.
you don't have those resources at your hand, if you don't have family, if you don't have friends,
Mm-hmm.
or you feel you don't have friends that you can trust,
Mm-hmm.
definitely, go to a church, talk to a priest, talk to a rabbi. If you're Jewish, talk to I don't know, the Muslim leaders, keep forgetting, but good. But whoever's the head of your safe place. If
Mm-hmm.
it's your mosque, if it's a church, if it's synagogue, if it's just
Whatever
somewhere
it
you
is.
feel
Yeah.
comfortable,
Yeah.
anywhere. Go talk to somebody. If it's the person who owns the Chinese store, go
Mm-hmm.
talk to
Mm-hmm.
them. But talk to somebody.
Yep.
It um, doesn't matter what I'm trying to say where you go. I know I'm being silly, but it doesn't really matter where you go. Just go somewhere where you're going to feel safe.
Right. Right.
You have to be able to. It's not going to be easy to talk to somebody like a cop,
Mm-hmm.
and
Mm-hmm.
especially if you're coming out of the circumstances we've talked about, like
Mm-hmm.
abuse, it might
Mm-hmm.
even be hard. And you might find yourself still protecting the person who's abused you in some
Right.
ways,
Right.
still not giving all that information forward. But as you get through the process, and as you
Mm-hmm.
talk to them, if they are well-trained officers, whether they're a woman or a man,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
um, don't be afraid to talk to a man. But if that's who you're given, you
Yeah.
tell your truth.
Yep.
Somebody will listen.
Right.
You know, it's just they're so well trained. Abused people are trained people. Like you
Mm-hmm.
train your dog or you train your animals,
Mm-hmm.
they're trained to to um to speak a certain way, to hold back, to not
Yeah.
be able to function on the level that somebody who's not abused. And
Right.
so I don't consider myself like a victim of any type anymore. I try not to use that word because I,
Mm-hmm.
I, I think victim holds you back.
Mm-hmm.
Just for
Mm-hmm.
myself on a personal level, and it might not be for
Yeah.
somebody else, but I try to consider myself lucky and
Mm-hmm.
blessed
Yeah.
for the things that have gone in my life, because those things have made me stronger.
Yep.
Those things have made me who I am. I can say, oh, my children's father, I'm divorced from him. But that divorce gave me 3 beautiful kids.
Yep.
That marriage, I shouldn't say that divorce, that marriage produced my children. If
Yep.
I say I regret my first husband, I'm regretting my kids.
Yeah. Yeah.
And hell no will I regret my children.
No.
So things happen for a reason sometimes, and we're taught certain lessons.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing that I think that Cynthia and I want to do is have you not be a statistic,
Right.
have you not get to the point where those lessons bring you to a point where you're no longer here.
Yeah.
We want to keep you here and learn from those things that happened. It doesn't have to be the end of your life. I mean, I'm in a really decent place in my life where I feel like I have really healthy people around me.
Mm-hmm.
I definitely met, I wasn't thinking I was going to be this in love, but I
Mm-hmm.
am really in love, and I'm in a
Mm-hmm.
good place, and I'm in a healthy place. I'm in a healthy way of thinking of my relationship.
Yep. Yep.
The person I'm with was seeing some of the things I wasn't good at because of my circumstances, or what happened to me in my past, or my past
Mm-hmm.
relationships
Mm-hmm.
and stuff. And I wasn't great at communicating. And sometimes, and Cynthia has brought this to my attention too, I would speak over her, or I would jump in quickly and change the maybe direction she was trying to go in, and not be as like, now I pause, I think, okay, she's still talking about her point, and I need to be a good listener. And that took me time, but that
Mm-hmm.
was also from the place that I came from. I didn't feel I was
Right.
being heard.
Yeah.
Now I let everybody hear me. You need to listen to me, because I haven't been heard in like 5 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever
Mm-hmm.
your situation is.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I was like, yeah, I'm gonna cut in. Hey, I got something to say. And that's all that kind of like insecurities that you might not know you have, or
Yeah.
maybe you're not recognizing right away. Because when people are suppressed,
Mm-hmm.
right, in some form, whatever that suppression looks like to you. Like I said, I had the best parents in the world. I mean, like, exceptional parents. And I still fell into choosing people who were not good in my life, who were not
Right.
right for me, who were not going to um, enhance my strengths, but rather try to um, take some of my insecurities and my weaknesses and zone in on them.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah.
think you said something at the beginning that you not that they target you, but something
Right.
like that.
Yeah.
That a perpetrator looks for a certain
They
type of person.
right.
Right.
They recognize a certain behavior or a way a person
Right.
talks.
If you're divorced and
Yeah.
you need a rescuer, you need somebody, you're perfect for them.
Yeah.
Because now
Exactly.
you're like weak, and they're
Mm-hmm.
gonna show
Yeah.
you how great
Yeah.
they are.
Yeah.
And so they work on your insecurities and your weaknesses and
Mm-hmm.
your inability to make decisions,
Yep.
right?
Yep. They work on
And
your vulnerability.
yeah, and your vulnerability, and so
And they see that very quickly.
they do that very quickly.
Mm-hmm.
They zone in on those
Yep.
people who have been damaged in
Yep.
some way, right?
Yep. Yep.
You know,
Yep.
um, like that term, damaged goods.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
And so I always say to my daughter and my kids, you have to know what you're worth. I'm not saying everybody should go and be stuck up and be conceited, but we
Right.
all have
Right.
worth,
Mm-hmm.
and we have to recognize that. So
Yep.
I know I'm worth something now, and I
Yep.
know that I'm a good person. I know what my intentions are.
Yep.
That's why I sleep with no guilt. I know that I have a relationship with God and that makes me feel good. I don't have to
Right.
go to church every Sunday to have a relationship with God.
Right.
I,
Right.
you know, for me, what helps me is my Bible,
Mm-hmm.
which I have, my faith, and that, and you can be an atheist
Yeah.
and believe in certain things. You know, we
Right.
all have certain, well, you can do, God is something that I believe in. I'm not trying to
Yeah.
tell you what to believe or anybody else,
Right.
but what I'm saying is we all are worth something. We all have value in how we want, as long as your projection, your intention, whether you have to
Mhm.
write that down every morning, what your intention for the day is, as long as you're working on yourself and taking
Mhm.
care of yourself and maybe combing your hair or putting on your makeup or wearing something that makes you feel pretty or
Mhm.
jogging or exercising or biking and,
Yep.
doing positive things
Yes.
to bring
Mhm.
other people in a positive direction.
Mhm. Mhm.
When you feel good and
Yeah.
you allow yourself to take time to take care of yourself, to put on your nice shirt and
Yeah.
to make your surroundings pretty, things
Mhm.
that make you feel good, then
Yeah.
that is going to project on everybody that you encounter. That
Yep.
energy, that intention
Right.
is, and slowly, as you start to love yourself because you're doing nice things for yourself, and then you're now attracting people who want to be in your energy,
Right. Right.
and you're teaching them to be positive,
Mhm.
because
Yep.
there used to be an old saying, good begets good, evil begets evil, but it's the
Mhm.
same thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
Positivity begets other. It's contagious,
Yep.
when you love somebody
Mhm.
and they and you can give love to other people. I love my parents.
Yeah.
I love that energy is contagious.
Yep.
We feel it, right? You feel when somebody
Right.
really loves you and they
Right.
take care of you and they nurture you. So I think it's important. Intention is, I think, huge. Feeling
Yep.
good and having intention.
Mhm.
I'm trying to wake up and saying, yesterday it might not have been, and it was somebody hurt my
Okay.
feelings, but I'm gonna wake up with the intention to make things better today.
Okay.
What am I going
And
to do?
that
And Cynthia's
that
great at
could
telling me to write things down.
that could be a great chapter 2,
Okay.
intention.
Intention. It's huge.
Intention. Yeah. So,
And you taught me that in a big way, not the word intention. Like I always thought, okay, well, my intention is to do good during the day. And
right.
I'm gonna fall behind. Intention doesn't mean you're an angel.
Right.
Intention doesn't mean that you're always gonna get it right, that you're
Right.
not gonna have a fight with somebody or that you're not. But
Okay.
if you start out with the intention, whatever that positivity looks like,
Yeah.
and
So,
you slip up a little, it's easier to get back up because you have that thought already, that intention. So, oh, I
yes.
messed up. I hurt Cynthia's feelings. I said something very bad to her. But it's okay to say, you know what, Cynthia, I had a bad day yesterday and I'm really sorry.
Yeah.
I recognized I was out of line or I hurt your feelings or I said something that was not nice. And then you go, wow, I got over that. I said
Mhm.
that out loud. And then my intention was to move forward and still be
Mhm.
positive. And
Yeah.
so it's like being in what do they call it? A cycle class? Like I have my Peloton here, but what is it when you're in the class and you're cycling, right? And you're in
Yeah.
that class and your intention, oh wow, you're feeling the energy from
Yeah.
everybody else around you. Why?
Mhm.
Because they're all doing something good for themselves. They
Mhm.
like cycling,
Yeah.
right? I'm just getting into it. I've never been somebody who loved bikes before. I like my Peloton, but
Okay.
and can't obviously do
Okay.
it now.
Okay.
You know, it's the energy. See, she's keeping me in line again.
That's exactly because you're in chapter 2 now and we're still in chapter 1.
Sorry.
She's cheating. Has started chapter 2.
skipping
We haven't
ahead.
even ended chapter 1. So let's end chapter 1 and
Okay.
call it a night for this show. Um,
Absolutely.
yeah. So we're working towards being more mindful of each other, of our time. And so, and we definitely don't want to overload all of those who are watching and listening. We definitely don't want to put you into overload. So I will list my email and please feel free to email me. If it's ugly, I'm going to block you because that's the way of it. But if it's all good and you have a honest wish to want to be well, let's talk, and God hears your prayers. I hear your prayers. Maria hears your prayers. And so God is with us always. Be safe out there. And yeah. God bless.
And have good intentions.
Yes.
And love yourself.
Yes.
You
Know that you are worthy
find
of this
something,
life.
even if you don't like yourself 100%, find one thing that you can work on liking yourself for. Whether that's, your compassion, your hair, it doesn't matter. Start
And
to
know
like
that,
yourself and each day find something that you like about yourself.
and know that in this day, you've done the best that you can to help yourself and if you have children.
Absolutely.
God bless.
God bless.
So, my friend, I will see you in chapter 2.
Yes, you will.
So, yes, and we'll talk about that when we go off the show.
I need my eyes.
Put your eyeballs on. Okay, where do I
My
shut this thing
eyeballs
off?
on.
It's been so long
Okay,
since
yeah.
I've done this.
I'm going to.